Oh, man. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to SBR Sports Picks. My name is Peter Loshak. This is the Loshak and the Bag Show for Wednesday afternoon, January 30th. Jimmy the Bag, of course, is out sick. He will be back very shortly, very soon. And, of course, we have the Super Bowl coming up this weekend. I filled for Jimmy the Bag on the Audible today. Hopefully some of you caught that one live. It was very interesting talk with Donnie Rightside and Whale Capper about our opinions on the side and total and, of course, expected game plans from both teams and possible props with betting value associated with those game plans. And I am happy to report that I identified a few props that I thought might have a little value. What do I know? Whale Capper and Donnie Rightside both agreed with them. And in fact, Whale Capper said they were a few of the only props that still had some betting value in his opinion. I thought that some Sony Michel rushing props, attempts and yards might have some value. I actually said that I liked the Rams sack prop under, which Whale Capper kind of disagreed with, so that was very risky. But it was an interesting show. Check it out on the replay. I filled in on the Audible for Jimmy the Bag. All right, let's check the comments section here for today's show. We'll quickly review the two NHL games that are going today, and then we will be joined by J Money, where we'll go over the NBA card. And then we're going to talk college basketball with Maxwell Smart. And this is what Maxwell Smart told me he wants to talk about. All the games in the Patriot League, the Atlantic Sun, and the Big South. Also the Southland Conference. And I'll talk a little bit about Mountain West and Atlantic 10 and Missouri Valley games. So if that's your cup of tea, boy, are you in for a treat. If it's not, what can I tell you? But Maxwell Smart, of course, is awesome. Follows these teams very, very closely and can identify edges in these small markets. And that's where the edges can be the biggest because the limits are lower. It's easier to identify edges in those games and in those leagues if you have the time and know what to look for. And that is what Maxwell Smart has and what he does. So he's going to be joining us at 6 o'clock Eastern time to discuss his opinions on the Patriot League, the Atlantic Sun, and the Big South and other small conferences as well. We'll see what he has to say. What he has to say. We'll talk about NBA with Jay Money in about 10 minutes. And let's just quickly get some comments, and we'll talk about NHL. Let's see what we got here. Comments coming in. Again, I took, let me see. People are talking about college basketball. Nonstop talk about college basketball. Chris Stansbury likes Marquette. Yes, Marquette is an interesting game. We'll see what Maxwell Smart has to say about that. He's reportedly going to be focusing on the small conferences here. Marquette might be in a little bit of a trap spot here. Going up against Butler. On paper, it looks like Marquette should not be an underdog. Much better team than Butler. The line has not moved. The market isn't telling us much. Oh, it actually has moved. I'm sorry. Excuse me. It's up to 3. Most places. That is a very telling move right there. Butler, -3 at most places. Bovada still has 2, which is also very telling. I don't know, man. We saw a similar market move yesterday with Nebraska and Wisconsin. Huge market move in favor of Nebraska. All the LoBaggers disagreed with that move. And, of course, Wisconsin covered easily and won. Maybe we're seeing the same thing here, but Butler is a tough place to go in and get a win on the road. Marquette has traditionally not done well going into Hinkle Fieldhouse, and the market, small move in favor of Butler. Let's see. Other comments coming in. Let's see what we got here. Geez. Gate Pass Key says, Pete, you are a beauty. Thank you very much. I did trim my mustache, trying to make myself just a teeny bit more beautiful. Got a haircut. Great Audible show. Lots of value fleshed out. And guess what, Pete? Pete's picks were on the Super Bowl. Surprisingly on the can't see what he typed there. All right, so let's see. Chase Baker likes Butler -3. All right, I'm just going to scan some comments, see what people are liking. Then we'll talk about NHL for a couple minutes. Then we'll go right into the NBA with Jay Money joining us. Jay Money should be here in about 5 minutes. Everyone's talking about all the games. NBA, college basketball, comments coming in. Shout out to all LoBaggers here. Super Cisco likes King team total under, Pacers team total under. I did already give that one. He gave it at 108.5. Super Cisco. That was one of my plays from the morning show. I did give Pacers team total under 109.5. Where's the scoring going to come from? Maybe it will come. We thought the same thing about the Pelicans yesterday. Where's the scoring going to come from them? And it did come. But Indiana, without Evans, without Oladipo, it's looking like, they're going to be a team that's going to have a hard time putting up offense in the near future until further notice. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? Let me see what we got going on here. In the morning show, let me just review the plays that I gave. In the NHL, I did give Dallas -1. You got to be careful taking these big favorites in the beginning of the second half in the NHL. But of course, Buffalo's off a back-to-back. Dallas closed the first half not playing well and not scoring, which sometimes can indicate a team that's going to do well to start the second half. So I took Dallas -1 at about at about even money, and I also took a shot with the Buffalo team total under 2.5 -118. Our resident NHL expert, Mr. Gokster, says he doesn't like that one. He likes the Buffalo team total over. It might have been a little bit too hasty, doubling up here on a lethargic offensive day from Buffalo, but we'll see. In the NBA, I did give Indiana team total under 109.5. I also gave the under in Charlotte, Boston, and the Dallas Knicks game. Charlotte, Boston was 216.5, and the Knicks was 215. I was liking both of those on the opening lines, and then I liked them. I gave them anyway, even with the reduced line. So let's see. The Dallas and Knicks. Hold on one second. Let me just copy and paste some comments here. Just check the line moves that occurred on the picks that I gave. Charlotte, Boston, under 216. Yep, there you go. Even further down. I gave it in the morning show, 216.5, and now it is down to 215 or 214.5. So probably likely under still at 215, but a little bit less than at the opener of 218, and the game line I gave it at 216.5. And the Dallas Knicks game has not moved at all since the morning. Still at 215, down from the opener of 217. And then I gave Ole Miss in college basketball team total over 66. Now, that's an interesting game, right? Ole Miss, of course, was an ATS covering machine. Tops in college basketball for the first 15 games or so. Covered like 14 out of the first 15 spreads. Last couple of games, they've been off ATS-wise. I think they've lost 3 out of their last 4 ATS, but they were a little bit forgivable, right? They went on the road against Alabama and got outshot and out-rebounded. That's a little bit forgivable. Iowa State shot lights out against them in their last game. Florida, can be tough defensively at home. I know that. They're a strong team. They can have a strong home court advantage. And in the morning show, people were saying that they liked Ole Miss plus 5.5. I was leaning to the over, and so I did decide to give Ole Miss team total over 64 -110. We'll see if Maxwell Smart has anything to say about that, but that is one play that I did give. Let's check the line move to see if the line has moved at all on that game. God, it's impossible. It takes like 15 seconds to check one friggin' line here. Where is that one? There we go. Yeah, it opened. It was 5.5 in the morning show. Now it's down to 5 or 4.5. So not a surprise the line has moved in Ole Miss's favor. And the total, pretty much where it was when it opened, around 133, 132. That's still where it is right now. All right, so I gave Ole Miss on the team total over 64 -110. Could lose, but I think it's a solid play. And those were all my picks from the morning show. Think they're okay. Want to be careful about giving too many plays out. Only give out the plays that I feel confident going down with. And all these plays I feel pretty good about, except for the Buffalo team total under. I might have made a mistake there. I still kind of like Dallas -1. If that one loses, I'll be okay. But, yeah, could see a higher scoring game here unexpectedly and could see Buffalo, losing 5-3 or something like that. Might have made a mistake there. The other plays I'm okay with. All right. Again, a lot of people saying that Matt Randall said Iowa State is his play of the day today. That's a very interesting play. Dan Kelly liking Indiana first quarter. We'll talk about that game with Jay Money, but Dan Kelly has weighed in. He likes Indiana on the first quarter going up against Washington. Of course, Washington coming off the embarrassing loss to Cleveland that caught a lot of people by surprise, including the market in general. Washington got bet up, and they lost outright, somewhat surprisingly. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? Comments coming in. And then we'll get to Jay Money. Jay Money? I'm seeing him on the monitor. All right, let me just check the comments, and then we'll jump right into NBA. All right, hold on. Scanning. Yep, there you go. Just to 187. Iowa State looks like a great bet in caps at -112. Look at that. Aloha Eastside Rolla says got Mavs -7. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's see. Other comments coming in. Chase Baker likes the Knicks plus the points. Let's see. Scanning for comments here before we get to Jay. O Capo Dinero likes Iowa State -12. Balos Palos Way likes the Dallas game under. I did take that one. Okay. And all right. So that's just about it. Once again, in the Tampa Bay Pittsburgh game in NHL, there were some people in the morning show who gave a confident opinion that they like Tampa Bay, and Pittsburgh is definitely having some issues right now that I do think are temporary. They're not scoring on the power play. Their defense is atrocious right now. I do expect both of those things to correct relatively quickly in relatively short order, but it's going to be a tough assignment tonight against Tampa Bay, and this is just a game that I'm staying off of. The total in this game is super high, unbelievable. We already have a 7 at Bookmaker. 7 at Bovada, 7 at Heritage. I'm just going to stay off this game. Crazy game early in the second half of the NHL regular season, and I'm going to stay off it. My only play on this one is in tonight's NHL card, Dallas -1, and I doubled up by taking the Buffalo team total under 2.5. Might have been a mistake, but that's it for NBA. Now let's move on to, for NHL. Now let's move on to NBA, joined by Jay Money. Jay Money, thanks for being with us.
Oh, anytime, P. You already know, man. Anytime y'all willing to have me on the show, you know what I'm saying? I come on. Y'all know what's up, man. It's Jay Money. Let's cash some tickets.
All right, let's cash some tickets. Some controversial games in the NBA tonight. I guess, hold on. Let me just here. Hold on one second. Cancel. All right. First thing I want to ask you about is probably the toughest game on the board, right? And that's the Washington-Indiana game, right? The market loved Washington yesterday. They lost outright to Cleveland. Now they're back on a back-to-back, going up against a team that is obviously very vulnerable. Indiana, no Evans, no Oladipo. What's your take on this one? Is this an automatic play on Washington here? I took the Indiana team total under. What do you think about that?
Yeah, for me, it's not really a tough game. If you guys watch Kings Court, I pretty much mentioned this game yesterday. The Indiana team total under by you was a damn good play in this game, Pete. I was watching the LoBag show earlier, and when you said that, it made a lot of sense. I wanted to bet it myself, but I didn't. I did take the under 217 in this game. I like that play. I like that play a lot. I don't see this game being an up and down game. We know the Wizards, they just played the Cavs last night. I was on the Wiz. I didn't even have, I was on them full game with the points, but I just needed them on the money line. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And they were down by 22 points. And that's super sad to me. I'm sorry. That should never happen. Like my guy King Real says, you know what I'm saying? You lose to the Cavs team. Anybody lose to this Cavs team, I just can't trust them. I've seen a lot of people that's on the Wizards today. I just don't see it. I did mention on the show yesterday on Kings Court that if Tyreke Evans played, that it would be a really nice spot for the Pacers. But I do feel like even without him, the Pacers still have a deep team. And I just feel like obviously they're a more rested team. The Wizards, this is their third game in 4 days, and they're coming off a back-to-back loss where they were down by 20 in the fourth quarter, and they came all the way back only to lose by 3. So, you know what I'm saying? They're coming back to the house tonight off a 3-game road trip. I still like the Pacers in this spot, man. It would really be lovely to have Tyreke Evans in there, but I still like the Pacers, and I still like the under in this spot. The Pacers can win, and you still cash that team total under, Pete. I think that this will be an under game, and I don't see it being an up and down game at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't at all be surprised if Indiana wins relatively comfortably, but the team total cashes relatively comfortably as well. No move on the total at all. And again, Dan Kelly likes Indiana on the first quarter. All right, from the rest of the card, Jay Money, let's start off with your best bet or your best couple of bets. What are you liking in particular on the NBA card tonight?
Yeah, the under in that Pacers game was one of my best bets. I can't say lately with the NBA, you kind of sort of have to tread lightly. Obviously, we see yesterday the Rockets, they get steamed all the way up. The Pelicans have late players out, and then the Rockets end up losing their game straight up. That was pretty fucking crazy if you ask me. I know the NBA, you know what I'm saying, inside out. I'm sorry, I could never see that happen, especially the Rockets at the house with Chris Paul back. I mean, you could say chemistry issues and all this, but I seen them, they were up by damn near 20 points, and then for them to come back and, you know what I'm saying, lose that game, that was pretty crazy. I'm fading the Pelicans again tonight. I don't care. Obviously, no more, no Mirotic, no Davis. Payton is sitting out as well again, and no Julius Randle. I'm taking the Nuggets in this one. I think that they are going to take. I'm thinking that Gary Harris is probably going to sit tonight, but they probably have Jamal Murray back. So, you know what I'm saying? If they're just sitting on their players, the Nuggets are a deep team. I like the under in this game as well. I don't see the Pelicans scoring that many points, which they didn't score a whole lot of points last night. That game went under as well. But they're on a back-to-back, tired legs. The Nuggets, one of the best defensive teams in the league. They're on the road. They don't score as many points, but I do think they'll win this game by 10 or more points. And I also like the under in this game.
Yeah, it does seem to have Denver written all over it, and I was leaning under as well. And in the morning show, that's what I was talking about. I was talking about maybe the Pelicans team total under. And you know what? If you endorse it, I will make that one an official play. You think this is a relatively safe play? The New Orleans team total under 109 minus 110.
Yeah, I do think that's a pretty good play. Like I say, I think they pretty much blew their wad last night. When I saw them not going to cover the game, I was actually hoping that they would end up winning the game. So it would be just a huge letdown spot for them today. A lot of these games, I like to see who they're playing next or what spot they're in next, see how they play in this spot before, and then maybe they'll come out flat or come out fired up the next game. So this is a prime letdown spot for New Orleans. I know it's a home game, but they just had a pretty damn good game last night where, you know what I'm saying, they were pretty much making all their shots. They were getting a bunch of calls, and it's like the Rockets just didn't really care out there. I'm not sure what the hell happened. It ended up being like a 10-point win by the Pelicans. I don't see this shit happening tonight. The Nuggets are hungry. They're fueled from the comeback win versus the Grizzlies. They probably feel like they can beat anybody right now. I mean, they were down by 20 in the fourth quarter and came all the way back and won that game. They should just ride that momentum. I see them blowing the Pelicans out here. This is a pretty confident play of mine.
Okay, sounds good. What else are you liking? What's your second favorite play on the card, if you have one?
Yeah, this isn't a super strong card, man. Another play that I do like the Kings tonight. This is a play that my guy King Real, he mentioned as well on Kings Court yesterday, and I did second to that as well, that I like the Kings as well. Bazemore is going to play, but I mean, he hadn't played in a little while. He should be a little bit rusty, but that is going to add to the Hawks, you know what I'm saying, depth or whatever. But I'm not really worried about the Hawks in this spot. The Kings, they came off a long road trip. They did just lose by 14 points to the Clippers, you know what I'm saying? But that was like the last game of their road trip. So I don't fault them for them that much. I like them to bounce back in this spot. The last time they played the Hawks, they went into Atlanta. I think it was like on a back-to-back as well. And they were on a nice little road trip. And they went after beating the Heat and the Magic. And then they went there and beat the Hawks by 31 points, put up 146 points on them at the house. So this is technically a revenge game for the Hawks. I do think they'll be a little pissed. But with them coming off that game versus the Clippers, this is another time where I feel like they kind of blew their wad versus the Clippers. And I just don't see them. I don't see them winning this game. I don't see the Kings losing this game as well. If you wanted to be safe, you know what I'm saying, maybe you could throw this one in a teaser, play the Kings on the money line. But I still think that the Kings will cover this 5 points. It was down to 4.5 at one point. Looks like it's back up to 5, but at some point it might dip back down to 4.5 with people saying that Bazemore is playing. I just don't see the Hawks having that good of a game the second time around. The Kings, they're a much better offensive team than the Clippers are. They won't let them slip up like that at their house. Coming off the loss, give me the Kings.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I just don't really want to bet against Atlanta right now, but definitely don't want to bet against Sacramento. Of course, Sacramento rolled Atlanta the last time they met. Do you have anything to say about Utah-Portland? This is flipped, right? Utah was a small road dog in the morning show on the opening line, and now they flipped to the favorite. Utah's now favored by 1. You know, in the morning show, a lot of people were saying they like Portland. I was thinking maybe I would be thinking about the Portland team total over, something like that, but I said I wanted to wait until the afternoon show to get more information, and I'm glad I did, because clearly, Utah has flipped to be a favorite now. Maybe Portland's not such a good play. You have anything to say about this one?
Yeah, this is a crazy one. I will come out and say I did already bet Portland a few times. Obviously, this was before that they announced that Nurkic was questionable.
Right.
If I would have saw that, there's no way in hell I would have took the Blazers. And obviously, if Nurkic is out, it would have me leaning towards the Jazz. But I did already bet the Blazers, so you know what I'm saying. That's what I'm on. I would like to lean to the under, but like you say again, if Nurkic is out, this is just one of those games where you have to wait to the late injuries to see what the play is. I can't say I'm not feeling so good about it because I feel like that he's probably leaning to the side of not playing, and this is a revenge game for the Jazz. They were rolling. I mean, other than that one loss versus the Blazers, they had won every other game, so they're 9-1 straight up in their past in games. They've been rolling. So, I mean, they even had a home-and-home versus the Timberwolves and won the away game of that, which is pretty tough to do. So the only loss in it, like I say, is against the Blazers. They don't have Nurkic. I never hedge out of a bet, but if Nurkic is ruled out, I might have to make a play on the Jazz just for the simple fact that I don't see them with this being a revenge game and a pretty big game for them. Pretty big matchup. I see the Jazz trying to get revenge in this spot. They don't have Nurkic for the Blazers. That's going to hurt, man. But I did already bet the Blazers.
I'm seeing him listed as questionable, and no firm word on whether he's in or out. I'm looking at Roto World, a few sites right now, seeing questionable everywhere. And then another game that has seen a big move, Memphis against Minnesota. In the morning show, Dan Kelly told us that he liked Memphis here, and that has moved in his favor. On the overnight line, I was thinking maybe Minnesota Minnesota, but obviously a lot of guys are. Jeff Teague has been ruled out. What's your take on Minnesota against Memphis?
Yeah, this isn't a strong game of mine at all. This is a revenge game for the Timberwolves. I did take the Timberwolves in this spot. I know people are here on Memphis. It seems like they're playing a little bit better, but my take on this game, obviously they were up by 20 points against the game against Denver at the house. When they lost that game, I kind of feel like that the players have been like, damn, man, like they really, realize, damn, how bad that they really are. You know what I'm saying? Even though they were playing good, they still covered the spread, but you let a team. You were at the house and you let a team come all the way back from down 22 points and win the game by 3 points. I mean, if you look at it, the momentum just swung. I mean, the Grizzlies couldn't make a shot and then they couldn't stop the Nuggets. That kind of sort of carries on to the next game. I'm sorry, that has to be in the back of the player's mind. They have Jaren Jackson that's a questionable in this game. If he doesn't play, that will definitely hurt the Grizzlies. If I'm going to take the Grizzlies, it would have to be at the house. You know what I'm saying? They're on the road in this spot. I do like their defense. They have much better defense than the Timberwolves. But if we look at the Timberwolves before those last couple losses before the Jazz, they had won 3 straight. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't really good teams, but they were kind of sort of balling. I remember I bet against them. I took the Lakers against them. They were playing against the Lakers, and I took the Lakers, obviously, and they beat them by 15 points. So the Timberwolves, they can still play. They have some players, so the point guard's out, but they do have Isaiah Cannon. He's going to play. I'm not just high on Cannon, but he can still ball out there. I still like the Timberwolves to cover this game. Call me crazy, but I'm not taking the Grizzlies on the road. You know what I'm saying? If they come in the way their momentum is right now, I'm not taking them. I think they're bad right now.
Yeah, and what you take about Bayless? When he's getting 40 minutes a game, how does that affect Minnesota?
Yeah, I mean, right now with Teague and Rose out, if they don't play and Tyus Jones out as well, you have to have somebody. So, I mean, Jared Bayless, he is a veteran point guard. It's not someone I'm super high on. I would be, glad to see him out there, but you have to have somebody out there that can, move the ball. My whole thing in this one is with the Grizzlies, pretty much Conley or Gasol or Jaren Jackson. Other than that, it's not really anything. I mean, I do think JaMychal Green is going to play tonight, but I just got a funny feeling that Jaren Jackson won't play and this line will move back up. I know that obviously the money is coming in on Grizzlies. If you do like the Grizzlies, go ahead and take them on the money line because they should win the game. They had a better defense, but the Grizzlies are just terrible on the road for me. I'm sorry, especially the way they've been playing. They're 8-17 on the road. I would have to lean towards the Timberwolves in the spot, but it's not a very confident play. Well, all my plays are confident, but this is not one of my bigger games of the day at all.
Yeah. Young Vaughn says he likes the T-Wolves. The big guy Bubba says Memphis no D. And then let's quickly get your take on Dallas against the Knicks. I took the under on that one. I got 215. Obviously, the Knicks are losing game in and game out, but not losing ATS game. They're about 50-50 ATS recently. They don't have much of a defensive presence, though, and the opinion is that maybe Doncic will look to ball out here at the Garden. What's your take on Dallas, New York, if any?
Yeah, I like the Mavs to win this game. I just don't know about laying the 7. They would pretty much have to win by 8 points. I could definitely see the Mavs come out here putting a whooping up on them.
Yeah.
The Knicks beat us already at the house. You know what I'm saying? Earlier this year, it was the beginning of the year, but they did beat them already by 12. So you know what I'm saying? This is a revenge spot. We know that the Knicks had just been losing. They had won a game in their past 4 games that went under. You know what I'm saying? So I could definitely see the under in this spot. It's just if the Mavs try to start going up and down. It's always hard because I like the Knicks can't really score like that, or their pace isn't there running fast, running gun. But if they start hitting their threes with the young players like Knox and Hardaway Jr., if they start hitting those threes, I've seen them to where they can give up 120 points, and they also put 110. So yeah, it just I know the line is going down. I would lean to the under. I didn't bet the total. I do like the Mavs to win, but as far as to ask them to win by 8 on the road, I do like Dunkies to go in there and ball out in MSG, but I don't know that sometimes the Knicks can be pesky. They can actually be up, and then it seems like they'll try to maybe lose the game in the third or fourth quarter, maybe lose by 3 or 4. So I've seen crazier shit happen, but I do like the Mavs to win the game.
All right, and then a game that's going to be a pass for me. Not sure if I've seen anyone give a strong opinion on this one. Chicago against Miami. Obviously, Chicago is on a back-to-back. They lost to the Nets, but they did cover, and I'm happy to say that I did have Chicago first quarter and first half yesterday. This is a different situation. Miami, of course, blasted the Bulls in Chicago a few games ago, so a double-digit win but here by Miami is entirely possible. The line is dropping as we speak, though, now down to a 9.5 at Pinnacle. It's going to be a pass for me, J Money. You think it's bettable at all?
Yeah, I mean, any game is bettable. You just have to find value in it. In this game, I would look towards the second half. The Bulls do come out with any type of energy in this game. We do know it's a back-to-back. They're coming from Brooklyn, which is not, not a little short, little triple, whatever. They played a pretty good game in Brooklyn last night and covered the spread, but end up ultimately losing. But this third game in 4 nights with travel. I do feel like this is a bad spot for the Bulls, but this is a revenge game. That game that they played not too long ago, about a week ago, in Chicago against the Heat, they were in it totally, the first half. I think they were actually maybe even down by a few points or up at halftime in that game, and then the Heat ended up pulling away in the third and fourth quarter, really mainly the fourth quarter. So laying the 10 here is a little bit tricky. I would look towards the under. The whole thing is you got to see if Levine's playing. Right now, he's questionable, so maybe they just ruled him in. Maybe that's the only reason why I could see the line moving down to 9 or 9.5. If he does play, it'll do that. But if he's out, then this line should probably move up to 11 or 12. But I would be looking towards the under in this game.
Yeah. I'm still seeing questionable, but the line move definitely indicates that maybe some inside information is coming in on Levine playing. All right, I guess we got to every game here. So your top bets, your top 2 bets once again, what are they?
My top 2 bets would be the Nuggets and the under, and then the Wizards and the under.
All right,
I mean, not the Wizards, the Pacers and the under.
Right, the Pacers and the under. A lot of people here are up. Flipper 13 says, I bet Bulls plus 10.5. Jeffrey Lewis M likes the Bulls here. Yeah, I can certainly see that. Mickey Total number 1 says Mavs are terrible on the road, which is true. Josh Minnie says Twitter is all over the Bulls plus 10. David Angeles, max play is a Bulls. Young, wow, everyone liking the Bulls here. Even AM44 says Miami wins, but Chicago covers. Okay, so the comment section seems to be liking the Bulls, and the split on the Knicks and the Mavs. A lot of people are saying that they really like the Mavs in the morning show and early in this show. But Chase Baker, Brian S., and Mally Mal, those are 3 heavy hitter commenters, all liking the Knicks plus the points. Frank Rizzo says Dallas smashes tonight. And Rich Money says Dallas team total over 111. Yeah, the Knicks are very vulnerable defensively at any given time, aren't they?
Yeah, hell yeah, they definitely are. That's a low. I feel like if you like the Mavs team total over 111, you would kind of sort of have to take the full game over because I think that the Knicks get over 100 points. I don't see the Mavs keeping them less than 100. Like I say, the Knicks still can score. And they're at the house. So, you know what I'm saying? We got to remember that the Mavs are 4-20 on the road, you know what I'm saying? But the Knicks are 4-17 at the house. Yeah. So, damn, I mean, both of those are pretty damn terrible. Obviously, the Mavs are the better team, but just don't be surprised if the Knicks, you know what I'm saying, giving them a game as well, or, you know what I'm saying, I definitely see them scoring over 100 points. That means that the team total for the Knicks is over 104. I would probably look towards the over on that team total in that for the Knicks.
Yeah, Geghard A says Dallas is an amazing spot. Geghard A, amazed by the spot that Dallas is in. All right. Strong opinions on both sides of Dallas and the Knicks. I took a shot with the under. Might have been a mistake. The market has moved in that direction, though. J Money, thanks so much. We'll talk to you again very soon.
No problem, man. Y'all know what's up. Y'all follow me on Twitter, at J Money is money. It's JAY Money is money. Y'all watch King's Court, you know what I'm saying, coming up in exactly an hour. Y'all holler at, you know what I'm saying, me and my guy King Rail. We're gonna get to this NBA card and get some more in game to give out the rest of my college plays. Real quick, the college plays I will give you guys. I am on Butler early, and the other game that starts real early, I'm on Seton Hall as well. So those are the early college picks. The rest, y'all come, you know what I'm saying, get on King's Court, and holler at my guy Maxwell Smart as well.
Okay, so there you go. J Money liking Butler. The market has moved in their favor, despite the fact that, Marquette clearly the better team, and excuse me, McDermott is out for Butler. Market moving in Butler's favor. And now we're going to talk college basketball, mostly tiny conferences with Maxwell Smart. Maxwell Smart, welcome to the Low Shack in the Bag Show one more time. Can't hear him. Am I supposed to be able to hear him?
Sorry, my mic was off.
Oh, that's okay. All right, Maxwell Smart, let's check your audio one time. Welcome to Low Shack in the Bag Show one more time.
Thank you very much, Peter. Glad to be here. Glad to be with the LoBag community. Let's hopefully do a little better than last night. Let's stick to some spreads and let's cash and serve cock soup up.
All right, you didn't do. You went about 50-50 last night. Didn't you go like 9-8 or something like that?
On my picks on the show, someone else will have to be able to keep track of that.
Okay.
I know that on my personal picks, I did a little bit better, but what it counts is what I give on the show, and last night was just not acceptable.
All right, Maxwell Smart. So we have about 30 minutes here. I know you want to talk about the Patriot League, the Atlantic Sun, and the Big South, which of course can be the conferences with the most value. Let's just quickly talk about the two games that are going at 6:30. I don't know if you have any opinions on these, but obviously Marquette and Butler, a very interesting game. Marquette clearly the better team. Butler's tough at home. McDermott's out, but that doesn't matter. The market's still betting Butler. Would you have a play on this game?
Yeah, this is a hard game for me to go on just because of how much money's on Marquette, but I have to always stick by my same philosophy. If you have a guy that can score 40 points and if you have a guy that can take over a second half and give you the win and the cover, and you're going to spot me 3 points, I'm going to have to take Marquette. I'm not going to put it out as a play officially for my record tonight, but I'm going to lean to Marquette because until I see Marquette lose on the road and I see that Marcus Howard is ineffective in two halves, not just one, then I really just can't go away from what's been cashing for me, and that's Marquette.
All right, fair enough. And now let's talk about the Ole Miss game, which also goes at 6:30 Eastern time. I gave Ole Miss team total over as an official play. It combined like a vague lean to the over and a small but modest lean to Ole Miss. Obviously, Ole Miss has been awesome ATS overall on the year. Obviously, Florida is no joke at home and can often clamp down on defense. What's your take about Ole Miss getting five? What's your take on Ole Miss getting 5.5 and maybe Ole Miss team total over at just 64?
Yeah, it seems like it's a line too good to be true.
Yeah.
Because if you watch Ole Miss and you've been betting on their games, they've been cashing for you. And I think that Bruce Stevens for Ole Miss is going to play a vitally important role tonight because coming off the bench, is he going to be able to maybe deal with Kavarius Hayes, or excuse me, however you pronounce his name. I think that Florida's defense is going to be key in this game. If they can shut down Ole Miss's perimeter scoring, then I think it's going to be a rock fight. It could be really ugly, and it will come down to free throws. But if you're going to ask me to freaking put out a play on this game, I'm definitely going to have to go with Ole Miss because I think that their three-point shooting, and I think that they have dynamic game changers in Davis and Tyree, and I think that I like Coach Kermit's coaching way better than Coach White or Coach Davis, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that Ole Miss is just going to have to be the play tonight. I think that this is just a bad line, and I don't understand why Florida is getting so much respect in the swamp.
And not only are they getting so much respect, but they're getting recent market movement in their favor. Florida jumped from Pinnacle from 4.5 to 5.5. That's no accident. That's respectable money coming in on Florida as a favorite, betting it up to 5.5. So the recent movement is favoring Florida, and this makes me very nervous. I guess I'm going to stick with my play on the Ole Miss team total over, but I'm definitely officially nervous right now about that one, and the market movement is telling me that maybe, probably, Florida is the play. I'd be very nervous about taking Ole Miss right now. All right, let's just check some comments, and then we will jump right in to Patriot League, Atlantic Sun, and Big South handicapping with Maxwell Smart. Let's see. Ron Crawford likes Butler money line. Atticus Gould likes Ole Miss. Okay, all right. Chase Baker, the Florida freshman, want to show up at home against a rival team. Certainly, it's understandable. Native Queen, shout out to Native Queen, though, liking Ole Miss first half and full game. So Native Queen not buying the strange line and the market movement favoring, seeming to indicate that Florida might be the play. Native Queen liking Ole Miss in full game, and she leans to the over in both games as well. I hope you're right, Native Queen, because I'm sticking with my my play on the Ole Miss team total over. And Mally Mal likes Ole Miss in the over. All right, so maybe my Ole Miss team total over is not such a bad play. It's making me nervous, but let's move on. All right, so Maxwell Smart, Let's start with the what do we have here? Let's start with the Patriot League. Let me just go to my notes, scan up to my notes here. Hold on one second. There was one play that I was thinking about in the Patriot League. Let me just find it. When I looked at it, hold on one second. Army has covered 7 out of their last 8, and they're once again catching big points. 7 is the last I saw. Is Army a good play here, catching 7 against Colgate?
So this is actually one of my favorite plays of the Patriot League card because Colgate is dealing with a major injury situation to Jordan Burns. He didn't play in their last game, and I think that's one of the major differences in why they lost to Loyola, Maryland, and he's questionable tonight. So if you're going to give me 7 points, I'm going to have to take Army because Army has really turned it on in conference. They're 6-2. They're on a 4-game winning streak. They're only committing 11 turnovers a game in conference. That's a big deal for a team like Army, who isn't as efficient and athletic as some of these other teams that they're going to be playing. I think that Colgate definitely has an advantage size-wise in freaking Rap Ivanauskas and freaking Will Raymond. They can hit the offensive glass, and they're both averaging 8 and 6 rebounds respectively. So you're really going to have to box them out and really be efficient from the field. Army's the type of gritty team that's really going to play to whatever their opponent's pace is. So I think that guys like Tom Funk and Jordan Fox from the perimeter are going to be vitally important. And in the first matchup where they did play Colgate and win by 10 as a healthy underdog, I think that they can go in tonight and do the same thing, being the key being Jordan Burns not playing. Without Jordan Burns, they don't have a lead guard, and they have to rely on Tucker Richardson, who in his first game starting went 2 for 11, and I can't put that much faith in the freshman, even though Colgate's going to play probably some better defense and try and slow this game down.
Maxwell Smart, you're a friggin' beast of Patriot League handicapping. There's no other way to put it. So you like Army here, getting the points, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually took it at 7.5, and I took it at 7. And I'm not going to say that I will tell people to take it at 6.5. I would tell them to buy up to 7 because as much as I want to think that Army is going to go in, take advantage of Jordan Burns being out, and cash on the money line, this is a revenge situation against a highly touted Colgate team who is thought to be a lot better than they've shown so far in the conference season. All
right, so for anyone who wants us to spend a few more minutes talking about Army Colgate, we're not going to. I'm very sorry. We're going to have to move on. I'd love to talk about Army Colgate for another 10 minutes, but we're going to move on. How about Lehigh against Lafayette? Lehigh is, the top team in the conference. They've been playing great ATS, but Lafayette's improving. Played them tough first time, and now they're at home getting points.
Yeah, these guys played a really entertaining game the first time. Lehigh is the big key for Lehigh in this game is do not start slow. They started slow. They fell behind by double digits at halftime and really had to turn it on and come back for just the win. They didn't cover I think it was 7.5 points. Someone will have to double check on that. But Lafayette, they're a team that they shoot 47% of their possessions from 3-point line. And if they're not shooting over 30% from the field and not hitting threes, they're fucked. They're going to get served cock soup against Lehigh because Lehigh is one goddamn explosive 3-point shooting team. They got Lance Tejada, they got Jordan Cohen, they got Pat Andre, and my favorite, Kyle Lefroy. These guys, they are very effective from the field, very effective from the 3-point line. They're all shooting over 40%, and these guys hit free throws. I love teams that hit free throws. You're going to see a lot of free throws in this game. If the total wasn't in the 160s, I would be freaking advocating for the over. But in this game, I think Lehigh is going to know Lafayette a lot better, and I think that as long as Lafayette doesn't beat them at the free throw line, they are going to cover this 4.5 points. I was skeptical when the line came out and there was a significant movement in favor of Lafayette. But I'm going to go with Lehigh, the team that is probably good chances to win the Patriot League, and I'll be very secure with that. So let's go with Lehigh. Let's take the -4, -4.5, whatever you can get at -110.
Okay, fair enough. And now let's talk about Bucknell and Navy. Bucknell, of course, one of the top teams in the conference, but they're winning games, not always covering though. Bucknell has had a history recently in the past month or so of winning, but not covering, especially at home. 2-6 ATS are giving a lot of points. Is Navy a good play here?
Yeah, I think that Navy's a good play because they are very clutch. They are very gritty. They will speed it up. They'll slow it down. They'll play whatever pace you want. And they got some guys that can do it. George Kiernan's coming off a monster 27-point game. And they got Hassan Abdullah, who is a very clutch shooter in late game situations when you need a bucket to keep your cover close. So I'm going to be saying I do have a bias towards Bucknell because I am a Canadian and I love my fellow Canadians, aka Kimball McKenzie. But the way that they played against American in their last game really showed to me that they are not mentally strong, and that if they get down, they will try to come back. But it's just not a good situation for them to even be behind. So for this game, the key is Bucknell going to run out and get out to a big lead? I don't think so against Navy. I'm going to go with Navy full game plus 12, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
That's what I was thinking about as well. Let's go back to Army Colgate for a second. No, I'm kidding around. That's a joke. Any other plays you want to give from the Patriot League until we get before we go on to the Atlantic Sun?
Yeah, so let me just touch on this American Loyola Maryland game. First off, my play of the night right now is going to be Loyola Maryland and American over 140. So that's going to be my top play of the night. I think that this is going to be a great game. I think that these teams have very good pieces that match up well against each other, and they're going to hit shots against each other. And I think that American's going to win with their defense in the end. You're going to give me -1.5. I'm just going to take them on the money line. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to come down to the wire and free throws. And I'm going to take Saeed Nelson and Sam Oreo and the rest of American University.
Okay, fair enough. Before we move on to some Atlantic Sun analysis, again, these small conferences, these small schools can't have good betting value, and Maxwell Smart is the perfect guy to listen to find that value. Geghard A says, Pete, you got to ask Max about Texas A&M LSU, please. You got it, Geghard A. Maxwell Smart, I'm asking you, Texas A&M LSU, what do you think?
Well, LSU definitely deserves and owes us all a cover after that freaking stupid alley-oop fucking blown dunk that turned into a 3-point shot that turned into a freaking LSU ticket being mixed in with some cock soup. But I think that they're going to go into Texas A&M tonight. I think that they're going to win and cover, and I think that it's not going to be too much of an ass clencher. And I don't think we're going to have any unfortunate circumstances risk our money and our wager, because we're going to take those winnings tonight, and we're going to support local strippers.
All right, so not an ass clencher in Texas A&M LSU tonight. If you're looking for an ass clencher, you're going to be disappointed, according to Maxwell Smart, in Texas A&M and LSU. Now let's move on to the Atlantic Sun. Some interesting stuff in the Atlantic Sun. Florida Gulf Coast, of course, was a terrible team, ATS, for most of the season until their last 4 games when they really started to improve versus their market valuations. Covered 4 in a row by margins, and now they're getting a bunch of points at New Jersey Tech. Is Florida Gulf Coast once again going to be a good bet here?
Well, Florida Gulf Coast is definitely improving. They showed that in the North Florida game where they had some pretty big performances from, I can't pronounce his first name, so I'm just going to call him Casimir.
Okay.
I'm probably butchering that, but forgive me for that. I think that tonight against NJIT, they're coming off that freaking nice comeback win with revenge against North Alabama. And I think that I'm going to have to go with Zach Cooks and Abdul Lewis. I love the intensity of Zach Cooks. If you watch that game and saw him during this comeback, you're going to make sure that you want to bet on this guy. This guy is going to freaking make guys accountable. He's going to hit clutch shots. He's going to play to the last freaking whistle. And I'm going to go with NJIT tonight pretty simply. I think that they've been pretty bad ATS at home. They're definitely a better ATS team on the road. But they're playing really good 3-point D. They're shooting 72% from the line. And they're keeping the turnovers down. If they keep the turnovers down under 15, I think that this is the type of game and team that can play at a slow enough pace and hammer out this -5.5. But I will say, with a major asterisk, if you want to stop Florida Gulf Coast, you have to stop them from getting to the line and getting hot from 3. That's what North Florida couldn't do in their last game, and they had the lead pretty much wire to wire. I think NJIT plays a lot better defense. I think that with a rim protector like Abdul Lewis, who will be in the NBA one day, I think that I'm going to go with NJIT to reverse the trend. ATS at home.
All right. Any other plays you're liking from Atlantic Sun? Kennesaw State is a big underdog. Obviously, they're a terrible team, but they covered their last game. Maybe Kennesaw State plus 10?
Yeah, Kennesaw State and North Florida are definitely doing things differently. Kennesaw State really focuses on playing 2-point offense and really trying to get to the line a lot more. And where North Florida is just really dependent on the three. I think North Florida is going to be mad tonight. I think that Kennesaw State definitely can defensively match up with North Florida. And I think that it's worth a shot with them on the spread tonight. I think that Kennesaw has played some of the really tough teams in the Atlantic Sun. And I think that tonight they're worth a look as a double-digit dog at home.
All right, let's start asking you some open-ended questions here, Maxwell Smart. People just want to know your best bets, your best plays. It's a big card tonight. Just hit us with some of your best plays, Maxwell Smart. What do you like in particularly tonight?
Well, I think that Stephen F. Austin is a pretty good spot tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they're coming off that really, really impressive comeback victory against Albion Christian, which I was on the other side and was cursing them to the frickin' moon. But I think that against Central Arkansas tonight, I think that they're in a good spot and a good position to match up. Kevon Harris and Shannon Bogues really got to be dominant from the perimeter. And I think that if you get a good game out of Devontae Fitzgerald and Nate Bain, I think that this is the type of team that can beat you on the offensive glass, get those second chance points, get to the free throw line, and it's really just going to come down to how they play defense. Are they committing turnovers? Are they having busy hands? Because this is a team that can get steals, and if they get steals and get it on the fast break, those could be the points that separate and end up determining it. I am nervous that Stephen F. Austin has a lot of money on them. I just think that they are on an upward spiral right now, and I'm going to get on board.
Okay, sounds good. -4, 4 and 4.5, market wide. What else do you like in Maxwell Smart? Top bets of the card.
Yeah. Sam Houston State is definitely one of my favorite picks tonight. I'm not going to say I love it because every time I say I love a pick, it ends up fucking losing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm done with saying love. But I really like how Kai Mitchell and Cam Delaney and freaking Josh Delaney are really playing for Sam Houston State. They don't have a lot of size, so that is an issue. When I mean size, I mean height. The tallest player that they play that's an impact player is 6'7", but Kai Mitchell definitely does his work on the rebounds and gets 7.5 of them a game. So I think that this is a team, Sam Houston State, that is going to be playing against a Southeast Louisiana team that relies on defense. They are very two-dimensional. I do like the 2 dimensions that they have because Moses Greenwood is a wonderful offensive player to watch. I just think that this team doesn't get enough offensive possessions. It doesn't move fast enough within the shot clock to hang in this game against Sam Houston State. I think that Sam Houston State only loses this game if they don't do what makes them successful. And that is just getting 3-point shots, getting to the line, and being better at 3-point defense. So I'm going to go with Sam Houston State. I think that they are one of the top teams in this conference, and I think that they're one of the solid plays that I can back tonight.
Okay, sounds good. So Maxwell Smart has identified Stephen F. Austin and Sam Houston State as plays that he's really liking. Josh Minnie says, Pete, ask about Villanova, please. All right, I'm going to ask you about Villanova. Maxwell Smart, obviously Villanova is a significantly better team, but much like the Virginia game last night, we're seeing money come in on the home dog. DePaul bet down to 6 or 6.5. I'm asking you, Maxwell Smart, what do you think?
Yeah, so with this game, I am going to go back to Villanova.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be hard-headed because of the fact that Virginia went to overtime and didn't cover last night. I'm going to say now that maybe the bookies are trying to set us up for the wet up and they're just trying to mind fuck us. I think that Nova's rolling right now. Nova definitely matches up with all the good things that DePaul does. DePaul's front court has been really impressive the last couple games. I think that this is going to be a big measuring test for DePaul, but I think that they're just not going to be up to the freaking task. I think that Villanova is going to be able to go in there, and I think that they're going to be able to cover 6 and 6.5 points. So I'm just going to go with the team that I've seen rolling, and they are really serious about this conference season because Marquette, if they win tonight against Butler, they can't afford to lose to DePaul. So give me Nova -6.
All right, yeah, it's just that DePaul's covered 5 out of the last 7. They're scrappy, especially as a dog like this, and Villanova is so reliant on the 3. They shoot a lot of threes. Booth and Paschal shoot a lot of threes. Gillespie shoots a lot of threes as well. So this might be worth a second half play. If Villanova's down at the half, maybe a play on Villanova's second half might be worth a shot as well. AM44 asking, please talk Virginia. Well, actually, let's start with the Marquette game. Devo Lane says, Pete, real quick, ask Max if he's feeling the over 148 in the Marquette game.
Yeah, I'm definitely not on the total for this game. If Butler has their way, it's going to go under. If Marquette has their way, it's going to go over. This
Right.
is the type of thing that you watch the first 3 to 4 minutes, and then you put in a live play.
Okay, sounds good. And now let's talk about where is that Virginia Tech game? I just want to check the line movement if there has been any. Hold on one second. We are doing our best to handle a massive college basketball card here. Virginia Tech against Miami, Florida. You know, Miami obviously is decimated. They don't have a lot of players. They're just kind of a disaster. But maybe it's a trap to take Virginia Tech here. What do you think?
Well, I'm definitely not going to have a play on this game, but I did look into it and I will break it down. I just think that Miami is going to be underestimated at home. I think that in the game against Florida State, they were able to hang around for a bit, but I think that in the end, they just did not have enough depth, like you pointed out, Peter.
Right.
I just think that this Virginia Tech team, if they're playing the style of defense and they're playing at the pace that they normally play at, I think that they can really cover this spread tonight. I think that Virginia Tech is very good three-point shooting, and they have underestimated defense, and they are very good on the glass. I think that this is a team that is also very successful at the free throw line. And with Nickeil Alexander-Walker and guys like Justin Robinson and Kerry Blackshear, I think that they're going to just be able to be a little too much for Miami tonight. And I think Miami will definitely play hard for at least the first half. But I think in the end, Virginia Tech will cover the spread.
Yeah, I mean, Virginia Tech's off a huge bounce back win, but before that, they were clearly overvalued. And I just, it makes me nervous to take a team that was recently overvalued as a big road favorite here. But let's move on. We're getting a lot of questions about the St. John's game, which is very interesting. Obviously, they are going into Creighton. St. John's is off of two somewhat concerning ATS losses, and Creighton has two nice ATS wins recently. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, this is a hard game for me to get on, even the side or total, because this is a St. John's team that you want to be backing at home. And Creighton has proved that if they can get hot from three at home, they are going to torch you. And there's a reason why this line got put out at 3.5 for Creighton. This is a stay away spot for me. If you're going to twist my arm or give me a free play, I will take the home favorite.
Yeah, that's a pass for me as well. Native Queen says Virginia Tech all day, and Virginia Tech Native Queen really liking Virginia Tech. Red Ranger says Virginia Tech sounds nice. Now I'm going to ask you a question that I want to know, Maxwell Smart. Louisville against Wake Forest. Mr. Gogler says Wake Forest is getting too many points. Obviously, Louisville is a much better team. They have a tough schedule coming up. Maybe they overlook Wake Forest here at least early. What do you think about Wake Forest getting 10? Wake Forest first half. What do you think?
Yeah, Wake Forest is a gritty team. You're gonna see Jalen Horton and Childress really try and take over this game for them. But the reality is, you have to think about what Chris Mack is preaching to these guys. They got the rematch with North Carolina coming up, and they have to remember and realize and be realistic with themselves. The only reason why they won that game was because they hit threes. I think that they're going to be thinking a little too much about that tonight, and I think that Wake Forest is at least worth a look on the first half. It's not going to make my card because it is a very interesting situational factor, and you really need to know the motivations of both teams. And I personally cannot advocate for either side. I just think that Louisville may be in a look-ahead spot. They may be thinking about that North Carolina game, and Wake Forest loves to sneak up on people. Ask NC State how that feels.
Yeah. All right, so it's going to be a pass for you. Lamont Williams asking about Fordham and George Washington. Asked about George Washington game, sir. You know, George Washington has been doing great ATS recently. Now they're a suspiciously small home favorite against Fordham, who also can get some covers, but it just feels like this line is suspiciously low. George Washington -2. Does this line make sense to you?
Yeah, this line has been freaking giving me a freaking headache all day because
Right.
I watch a lot of George Washington basketball. I don't enjoy it, but I do it for freaking the LoBaggers and my freaking bankroll. So George Washington's a great ATS team when you're freaking giving them 10 or 12 points. They proved that against Davidson. I really like that game. I cashed on that game. But when you're talking about Fordham's two-dimensional. They got two guards that do all their scoring, and then they're freaking it's a wild card for who else is going to show up in that game. They do play some good defense, but so does George Washington. George Washington's the type of gritty team with Terry Nolan Jr., Justin Mazzulla, and freaking a couple other guys that I'm not going to name right now. But like George Washington, you're going to give me -2 at home. I've bet against them as home favorites. I'm not going to be doing that tonight. I'll take George Washington on the money line. I'll take the -2. I may even use them for my cheapo parlays. I don't get the line movement. I'm not going to think too hard about it anymore. I wasted enough fucking energy on that. Let's go George Washington.
Yeah, it's not even the line movement that concerns me so much as it also concerns me just where the line opened. But let's move on. I want to ask about a few other games that people are specifically asking about. But before that, hit us up with one or two of your other plays that you're liking from today's card that we haven't talked about.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back to the Southland. I'm going to go back to Nicholls State. I think that Nicholls State on the money line tonight should be able to beat Lamar. They are undefeated at home. They are on a 3-game road losing streak that I think that they will end tonight. I'm going to go with Jeremiah Jefferson. I think that he needs to have a better shooting game than he did in his last outing. I think that Gavin Peppers is going to frickin' be a very solid complementary piece. Both these guys need to get to the free throw line, and I think that their 3-point shooting is going to have a lot more success in this game against Lamar. I think that that Nicholls State is going to cover this spread. I think that they're going to win it very nicely. I'm going to take Nicholls State on the first half, and I'm going to take them full game on the money line.
Nicholls State, first half and full game. People are also asking about Indiana against Rutgers, and Indiana, of course, can't buy an ATS win recently. I think they've lost 5 out of the last 6. Rutgers is a home dog off a nice win against Penn State as Rutgers turned a corner.
Yeah, betting-wise, I'm not going to be betting this game, but obviously I support my fellow Canadians, Eugene Amore from Rexdale, Ontario, and he's back. So the last game that I bet on Rutgers, I didn't know that he was playing. He was questionable. He ended up playing and costing me a ticket. So Indiana obviously cannot buy a ticket, but this could be their game to finally get back on the freaking winning streak. I think that Jawan Morgan, they're not going to have a solution for him on Rutgers. I don't think any of Rutgers' bigger men can deal with him. I think that Romeo Langford's length is going to bother Geo Baker, and it's going to come down to Montez Mathis. If Montez Mathis goes off because he has really been developing throughout the season for Rutgers, they will win this game. If he doesn't have a good game, then Indiana is going to actually finally get an ATS win. But you won't find me on this. I won't be betting any of my bankroll on this game.
Okay, so that's going to be a pass through. A lot of people are asking about Illinois State and Drake. This is a very interesting game. I was thinking about a shot with the under. It has gotten bet down a little bit, and here we have the classic situation for people who don't follow basketball quite as closely as Maxwell Smart does. Drake is 15-3-1 ATS on the year. 15-3-1 ATS on the year. They're a home favorite here, though, and the line has gotten bet in Illinois State's favor. Is Illinois State maybe a good play here?
Well, you have to remember what Illinois State does and how they're built. Milk Yarbrough, Phil Fain, they got some guys that really can do some work driving and down low and getting to the line. Against a team like Drake, they're going to really miss Nick Norton in this matchup because I think that Ellingson's a really good piece to add on because of the injury, but I think that Drake's defense is going to have to be on point against this Illinois State team. Illinois State team is built to win the Missouri Valley Conference and go to the NCAA tournament. I can't say the same for Drake. Drake has been a great casher for everybody, but let's remember that they did a lot of their damage in non-conference, and so far in conference, they haven't been as profitable. I think that if you're playing this game, you got to play it either Illinois State on the spread or on the money line. And as a smart guy, I know who to tail when it comes to totals, and I will give a shout out to the main man, Noli Knows. Noli Knows likes under this game. I totally agree with him.
Yeah, I'm not exact. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about the under as well, but because of the market move, I'm thinking more about Illinois State. I know you cover the Mountain West as well. DJ Big Boss, huge shout out to DJ Big Boss. He says Air Force covers San Diego State. Do you agree with that, Maxwell Smart?
Well, this is going to be a very big revenge game for San Diego State, and Jalen McDaniels has been on a tear for this San Diego State team. I think that you're just spotting a lot of goddamn points to Air Force. And if Lavelle Scotty and Ryan Swan can get off, I think that they have a great chance to cover and win this game. This is a very sound defensive Air Force team, and San Diego State is going to need to be hitting threes if they're going to want to be scoring against this defense. I think that it's going to really come down to AJ Walker for Air Force. He's shooting 43% from three three-point range, and he was very critical in the first game. And I think that the offensive glass is going to play a vital factor in who covers this spread. Watching the first game, knowing what I saw out of San Diego State and knowing that they are very reliant on jump shooting, I think that I got to go with Air Force on the spread with DJ Big Boss. I think that they can go in there. I think that they can freaking win this game. I'm not going to advocate going on the money line. It's not going to be an official play, but I will make an official play on Air Force on the spread full game.
Okay, sounds good. Once again, Maxwell Smart like an SF Austin, Sam Houston State, Nicholls State. We have to talk about the Iowa State game because in the morning show, Matt Randall said it was his favorite play of the day, I believe. Marley Carter says Iowa State covers. Iowa State catching a lot of points. The line got initially bet down in the morning show. Now there's money coming back on Iowa State. Is Iowa State laying double digits here an easy play?
This is definitely not an easy play.
Okay.
You could always take the easy route, but I think that Iowa State is going to have a lot of freaking work to do tonight versus West Virginia. I think that West Virginia is a team that can really be anemic sometimes, but they can also really surprise you. We've seen that in their freaking recent results. This is a team that I cannot get a good read on because they aren't pressing. They don't have the perimeter defenders to run the press effectively for Bob Huggins to use it. And I think that they're going to be very reliant on what is working in the flow of the game. So I can't really predict what they're going to do. So I can't really bet on this game at all. This is the kind of game that I'm going to have to watch the first 4 or 5 minutes, and then I'm going to have to see how I can get on Iowa State. I have a feeling that West Virginia is going to play this game in the first half close. I think that Iowa State's going to have to make adjustments at halftime, and then maybe they'll be able to get over the schneid. Talent-wise, Iowa State should be the play. On paper, Iowa State should be the play. Situationally, motivationally, I just don't know. So I'm not going to advise any of my fellow low-baggers to get on this pick, on this game, on a pick recommended by me.
Okay, sounds good. Then we have other people asking about, the Bradley game is interesting, kind of. I guess there's two terrible teams. Both these teams have been at bad ATS-wise. Bradley just awful. Is this a pass for you?
No, I'm definitely going to be taking Evansville tonight. I watched a lot of MVC. I like KJ Riley. I like John Hall. I think John Hall is going to have a good time on the glass tonight. I look to see him get offensive rebounds and get maybe a double-double. I think that KJ Riley can hit enough threes to really freaking keep this offensive going. And I think that I like the coach better for Evansville. I like what Walter McCarty is running there. I like what he's building at Evansville. I like the results so far this season. They're a gritty team, and I think that they hit enough free throws, they play good enough defense, and I think that they'll be able to cover 5 points at home against Bradley. I think Bradley's had their freaking time in the spotlight. I think that they resort back against a team that does a lot of things that they don't do well.
But they don't have to cover 5. They only have to cover 4. The line has gotten bet down from 5 down to 2.5 or 3, and I'm just not seeing it. Bradley is a legit terrible team. Evansville's off a few ATS losses in a row, but they were close and a little bit forgivable. Why was there such a strong line move here in favor of Bradley?
Well, Bradley probably is on the rise because of the Southern Illinois underdog win.
Right.
I don't really buy that, but I think that Bradley here in a matchup situationally, I just think that they are at a disadvantage versus Evansville. I think that Evansville, the things that they are going to do better in this game on their home court, where their home court does have a very respectable advantage. I think that the 3 points that you would give a home court advantage comes into play here for Evansville. So I'm going to take Evansville. I'm going to hold my nose now that I know this line movement because I bet it when it was 5, and I haven't really looked at it the rest of the day. So I'm just going to go with what I know, and what I know is Evansville at home is a decent play, and I think that at this lower number, they're still worth a shot.
All right, fair enough. And people are definitely asking about Fresno State, Wyoming. They've been asking about this all show long. Wyoming is a terrible team that has been a good auto fade for most of the year. 4-15 ATS, terrible ATS both at home and on the road. And Fresno State is definitely capable of blasting bad teams on the road. The last time they were in this spot, they went into San Jose State, 14.5-point favorite, won by 20. No problem there getting a win. Is Wyoming once again in an auto fade spot here?
Yeah, I think that you really got to take into consideration what the roster is looking like for Wyoming right now. When Jake Hendricks comes back in the beginning of beginning of February, I think that they will be having another dimension of their offense that they can rely on. But if you're going to rely just on Hunter Thompson and Justin James to get it done, you saw what just happened. Justin James had a 2-for-15 game, and Wyoming just couldn't find enough scoring to stay in it. I think that Fresno State's situation has got to be the play first half and full game tonight, because they're coming off that really embarrassing loss against Colorado State, even though Colorado State's improving courtesy of that freaking win and their 2-point loss against Boise State last night. Fuck Boise State. And yeah, so Fresno State definitely is worth a play. I like that Deshaun Taylor's back. I like that Braxton Huggins is really freaking taking this top dog role for this team. I think that it's going to be really important for them to get to the line, have good 3-point shooting, limit the fouls, and protect the offensive glass. Don't give Wyoming those second chance opportunities. Don't give them those extra shot clocks. Limit their possessions tonight. And I think that Fresno State should be able to walk through Wyoming very easily.
Yeah, it just makes me a little bit nervous. You know, Wyoming has gotten blown out at home, but not really by 20. They get blown out by the top teams by like 15. All right, Maxwell Smart, we do have to wrap this up. Kings Court is coming up next, but before we let you go, Maxwell Smart, any other edges that we didn't get to from today's card that you want to let us know about before we wrap this show up?
Yes, I always have edges.
Okay.
Presbyterians play. Duquesne, yes. I love Duquesne tonight.
Yeah.
Sincere Carey is playing. Mark Lathrop put me onto that information, so thank you, Mark. I hate to be going against my fellow capper, Kobe Valentine, but I will take Duquesne. Positionless basketball. I think that against this defense, they're going to have a lot easier time than against VCU. I think that they are going to rebound from that VCU loss, and I'm going to take Duquesne +2 on the money line. I'm not going to think too hard about it. I've watched a lot of their game. I like positionless basketball teams. I think that Duquesne has a better opportunity, a better time tonight, and I think that they will cash for you, me, and everyone in the LoBag family.
Yeah, and that line is headed down just a little bit. Anything else, Maxwell Smart, you want to draw to our attention?
Yeah, I'm definitely liking Presbyterian tonight. I think that you really got to ride a team that's 10-3 ATS on the road. They got 2 standout scorers and Adam Flagler and Francois Lewis. I think that they will play their toughest matchup against Charleston Southern tonight, but they both played tough at Radford. They both lost to Campbell. They have that common opponent there. I think that Presbyterian, if they shoot 35% from the line and they hold their opponent under 35% from 3-point D and get to the line and shoot at least 70%, I think that they are going to be a live dog tonight. Robbie Tagaloa agrees with me. I think that Sean Williams agrees with me. I think that Presbyterian's worth the look tonight as a small road dog. And lastly, I will go with Longwood versus Hampton tonight. Longwood was goddamn embarrassed in their last game. They could not hit a 3. Isaiah Walton and Lorenzo Phillips were garbage. I think that tonight they used Jordan Cintron a lot more for his size down low. I think that they play great 3-point defense. I think they hoist up 35 3-point attempts themselves, and I think that they get some home redemption against a tough Hampton team. This will not be an easy game by any stretch. I just think Longwood needs to rebound situationally. Let's go with it. Longwood money line. Let's do it. All
right, sounds good. In the morning show, I actually identified Presbyterian as a team that I know you tend to like, and a play that I suspected you might be liking in the afternoon show. That did come to pass. Of course, we would love to talk about every game, but we can't because they hit us with 60 games on Wednesday. They are going to hit us with even more games tomorrow, and we will cover as many of these games as we possibly can once again with Maxwell Smart tomorrow in the afternoon show. But I think we did a good job today in the Wednesday show covering as much as we could. Once again, Maxwell Smart liking Stephen F. Austin, identified that one, Sam Houston State, Nicholls State, and a bunch of other plays that he is definitely liking. Maxwell Smart, thanks so much. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Peter. It's always a pleasure. Look forward to tomorrow, and hopefully let's serve that cock soup, support local strippers because they need chicken tenders and they need new G-strings. Let's help them out. Watch King's Court. J Money is money. King Rail is a freaking beast. You cannot go wrong with those guys. Make sure you tune in at 7 o'clock. Have a great night.
Maxwell Smart really coming into his own, and that is it for the Wednesday afternoon Low Shack in the Bag show. We'll be back tomorrow, 11 a.m., doing it all over again. Ian Cameron will be the guest on the morning show tomorrow. That should be fun. He's going to talk NHL and college hoops in tomorrow's morning show. That's at 11 a.m. See you then.